they don't want another brand with the kid wearing them on field, but they get him head to toe. Okay, not just off the field. They can get him head to toe with a signature shoe.
Yeah, I'm just excited for all of them. I give to a lot of receivers the prom DT96s. You know, a couple of them had them on. So I just give to a couple of, like, the main receivers.
He hadn't played a single regular season snap. And yet, before most rookies had even unpacked a training camp, Shedeur Sanders was already out-earning NFL veterans. How? Not just by talent, not even by hype, but by pulling off one of the boldest off-field business moves the league has ever seen. Within weeks of donning a Cleveland Browns jersey, Shedeur raked in over $250 million in merchandise sales, became the face of Nike's newest football campaign, and ignited a media firestorm that left the NFL stunned. And here's the wild part. It's not just about the money. It's about who owns the money. Shedeur's secret weapon isn't his arm or his confidence. It's a revolutionary contract clause that experts say could shift the power balance between athletes and the league forever. One that some insiders tried to kill quietly during the draft. One that may have cost him his spot in the first or even second round. And yet, the gamble paid off.
The reason why it did is because he was able to really showcase his vintage trademark accuracy. He was so accurate.
He sold out personalized cleats. He hijacked Nike's marketing machine. He even got paid more off the field than on it. But the louder the hype got, the more the critics came crawling out. Anonymous scouts, executive leaks, ruthless tweets, and a full-blown backlash that's only just begun. So who is Shedeur Sanders really? A marketing genius? A prodigy QB? Or a high-risk headache wrapped in million-dollar branding? It started without warning. The NFL preseason had barely kicked off when something unthinkable happened. Rookie Shedeur Sanders outsold almost every big name in the league in jersey sales. The number? $250 million. Let that sink in. A fifth-round rookie, rocking number 2 for the Cleveland Browns, pulled in $250 million merch sales before making his official debut. To put that in perspective, while Shedeur's 4-year rookie contract locked him in at $4.6 million. Just his cut from jersey sales alone came out to over $14 million.
That is a very difficult throw. He's able to set his body nice and even, get his shoulder to the target, and throw an absolute dart.
That's triple his NFL salary in less than a month. And this isn't just impressive, it's unheard of. Most rookies struggle to make even a splash in sales. A few thousand jerseys? Cool. A small bonus? Maybe. But hundreds of millions in sales? That kind of buzz is reserved for MVPs, legends, not rookies taken 144th overall. But Shedeur wasn't just selling a name. He was selling a mindset, a story, and a legacy, and fans couldn't get enough. From teenagers who wanted to be him to diehards reliving the glory days of his father, Deion Primetime Sanders. The street was talking and buying fast. And the craziest part? This wave wasn't organic. It was engineered by design. What looked like overnight success was actually months in the making, with marketing moves, media setups, and gear drops perfectly timed to hit viral velocity just as Shedeur stepped on that preseason field.
Shedeur Sanders, over the course of the next 10 months, will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
The NFL world thought they drafted a kid with potential, but what they got was a franchise-level brand already in motion. And this was just the beginning. So how does a fifth-round rookie walk away with $14 million before the season even starts? The answer isn't just talent or timing. It's something completely new, a weapon hidden inside Shedeur Sanders' contract called the Prime Equity Clause. Never heard of it? That's because the NFL was never supposed to see this type of clause in a rookie deal. While most players sign cookie-cutter rookie contracts with tight restrictions and performance incentives, Shedeur's team negotiated something completely out of bounds. This clause grants him a percentage of all revenue tied to his name, image, merchandise, and promotions. Anything with his brand, he owns a piece of it.
My expectations have absolutely changed. Absolutely. My expectations have changed because a lot of what we're hearing from Cleveland has changed again.
So when fans poured money into jerseys, shoes, and highlights, Sanders didn't just get applause. He got paid. $14 million paid. That's not just smart business. That's disruptive. And here's the kicker. This clause is exactly why May insiders say Sanders fell to the 5th round. Reports say multiple teams passed on him. Not because of his skills, but because they were terrified of his demands. They didn't want a quarterback. They wanted compliance. Shedeur wasn't playing that game. Backed by a savvy team and years of exposure to high-level branding through his father, he entered the NFL not just as a player, but as a fully formed enterprise. While other rookies were fighting for second-team reps, he was walking into the league with ownership rights and a business pipeline already flowing. Critics called it arrogance. His inner circle called it strategy. Nike? They called it genius. And they were ready to go all in.
I think his demeanor has been great. Publicly, he's been nothing but positive. When he's talked to us, our interactions with him have been great, I think, no matter what questions have been thrown at him.
Because what happened next took athlete marketing into completely uncharted territory. Most brands wait to see where a player lands before they invest. Nike did the opposite. They didn't care that Shedeur Sanders hadn't taken an NFL snap. They didn't care that mock drafts had him going late. They looked at the bigger picture and moved first. In August 2024, months before the draft, Nike shocked the sports world by announcing Shedeur as their first ever NIL. Football athlete, a bold move that made it clear he wasn't just a player, he was a future brand ambassador. But this wasn't just a logo slap on a cleat. Nike went all in. Custom shoes, the all-gray Air DT Max 96, crafted as a reimagined version of his father Dion's iconic sneaker. Matching cleats, Vapor Edge 3.6 with a bold, clean design and a standout S2 logo, merging individuality with legacy. Strategic ad drops, every post, every campaign, timed like clockwork to stir buzz and go viral.
99% of the online scrutiny is because of my dad. And he is exactly right. That's why it was really a mistake.
And the masterpiece? Their response to Shedeur's preseason debut. Within hours of his first NFL performance, Nike dropped a fully produced ad with the line, "Only a matter of time." That one post racked up nearly 200,000 likes, thousands of reposts, and over 11 million impressions in under 24 hours. Why does this matter? Because Nike wasn't promoting a prospect. They were creating a moment built around legacy, confidence, and an unapologetic swagger their audience could feel. Shedeur wasn't just wearing Nike. He was Nike's next pillar. Bold, unfiltered, disruptive, which made him valuable not just to sportswear execs, but to a whole new generation of fans. But not everyone was buying into the vision. Inside NFL circles, the whispers started to grow louder. Behind the flashy ads and soaring sales, a different narrative was brewing inside NFL boardrooms, and it was far less flattering.
I don't believe they view him as a franchise builder, a franchise.
Scouts and executives started to shift the conversation. They weren't talking about Shedeur's arm strength. They were talking about his attitude. Anonymous sources suddenly described him as entitled, with horrible body language, a QB who blamed teammates and needed to be separated from his father. Out of nowhere, the pre-draft hype softened and the whispers got louder. From glowing prospect to potential problem, Why? Because Shedeur wasn't just entering the league. He was challenging it. His contract demands were bold. He wanted media rights, merchandising equity, and control over his likeness. The kind of leverage rookies don't ask for or get. Old school execs hated it. Some viewed it as him acting bigger than the game. Others feared that if he succeeded, every top college player would follow. Even the fact that his father, Deion Sanders, was involved, an NFL legend in his own right, became a target. One executive reportedly said cutting ties with primetime would foster humility. Translation: keep the kid in his place. But there was something deeper lurking beneath those criticisms, a bias that wasn't just about contracts or cleats. Some began to call it out for what it was, a modern plantation mentality, where a young, confident, wealthy black quarterback asserting control was suddenly seen as a threat, not a prospect. And while Nike doubled down, the NFL system seemed ready to push back. But their caution didn't stop the controversy from exploding. Because just as things were heating up, Shedeur gave his critics exactly what they were waiting for. In June 2025, the headlines shifted, and fast. Shedeur Sanders wasn't trending for a new jersey drop. He was trending for going 91 miles per hour in a 65, then 101 in a 60. Just like that, Shedeur's rising star collided with the real world. The public flooded with outrage. NFL critics foaming at the mouth. And the media, they ran with it. It wasn't just about speeding, it became a character issue. Pundits called him selfish, arrogant, irresponsible. Warnings started flying. He's letting the fame go to his head. And yes, he missed his first court date. But then came the Twitch stream. Shedeur admitted the decisions were dumb, owned up to it publicly, and paid his fines. Simple, right? Not quite. Because the backlash didn't fade. In fact, it got worse. While other NFL players, even stars like Myles Garrett, had been cited for similar violations, Shedeur's situation drew a disproportionate level of fire. Why? Because to many on the outside, it wasn't just about the law. It was about what he represented. A young, black quarterback in control of his money, his voice, and his image. And that combination makes people very uncomfortable. Then came the trolls. Unfiltered criticism on social media. Even former NFL star Antonio Brown entered the mix with vulgar comments and degrading posts. Straight up personal attacks that had nothing to do with football. Shedeur hadn't even started a regular season game. And already the noise around him was deafening. But drowning out the noise, that's part of the game now. And the million-dollar question was still waiting to be answered. Can Shedeur actually ball? All the flash, all the drama, all the brands. None of it matters if you can't deliver on the field. So let's address the question hanging over everything. Can Shedeur Sanders actually play at an NFL level? In his preseason debut, the numbers were solid. 14 completions out of 23 attempts, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 106.8 passer rating, and flashes of the same poise that lit up college defenses at Colorado. It was enough to excite Browns fans. And enough for critics to say, yeah, but, because for every highlight, there's still that stat NFL insiders love to throw around. 94 sacks over 2 seasons in college. To some, that screams poor decision-making, holding the ball too long. But others argue it was Colorado's awful offensive line and Shedeur's refusal to throw reckless passes. Now, he's in a stacked quarterback room in Cleveland. Vet QB, Joe Flacco, backup Kenny Pickett, and another rookie, Dylan Gabriel, all fighting for snaps, all with less media noise to tune out. Internally, coaches are watching everything. How he prepares, how he takes feedback, and how he handles being the center of the storm, even when he's not the starter. And yet, every time he steps on the field, fans feel that something bigger is at play. Every throw is about more than stats. It's about proving whether Sanders can shift culture and win games, or whether all the attention will end up being his own biggest enemy. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You can outsell every star in the league, stack endorsements, go viral every week. But if you can't win, none of it matters. What Shedeur Sanders is doing isn't just rare. It's revolutionary. Because if you think this is just a story about one flashy quarterback and a few cleats, you're missing the bigger game entirely. Shedeur is building a brand-first blueprint, one that could reshape how young athletes enter professional sports forever. It started in college. While most players focused on staying eligible, Shedeur was already cutting deals with Gatorade, Beats by Dre, Mercedes-Benz, and of course, Nike. He became the highest valued athlete in college sports, with an NIL valuation of $6.5 million, more than some veteran pros. And now, that same business-first mindset has him collecting merch equity, content ownership, and long-term royalties before he's even locked in a starting job. It's not just name, image, likeness anymore. It's ownership. It's control. It's building a platform that lives beyond the field. If this works, you better believe incoming college stars will start demanding the same. Custom clauses, media rights, merch cuts, everything teams and leagues spent decades controlling. Now slipping into the hands of 22-year-olds with Instagram fan bases and law school level agents. And brands like Nike, they're loving it. Because the ones who move fastest now will own the loyalty of the next generation of stars, long before they break records, win MVPs, or even start their first game. But here's the double-edged sword. If Shedeur stumbles on the field or in the headlines, it could all fall apart. For him, for other rising athletes. This isn't just a rookie season, it's a referendum on the future of athlete independence in the highest stakes arena in sports. So, what exactly is Shedeur Sanders? A quarterback? A businessman? A walking marketing machine wrapped in shoulder pads? Or is he something bigger? A symbol of the new athlete era? He hasn't thrown a regular season touchdown. He hasn't started a playoff game. But already Shedeur has changed how young stars think about leverage, legacy, and their actual value. With a single clause, prime equity, he proved that the business of football doesn't start after your rookie contract. It starts before the draft. It starts with ownership. Nike saw it. They went all in. The NFL, still not sure how to handle him. Because if this works, if Shedeur balls out, wins games, and stays focused, everything changes. High school recruits will chase brand potential just as much as draft potential. Colleges will become launch pads for entrepreneurs, not just athletes. And players across the league will start asking one big question. Why don't I have what Shedeur has? But that's the risk too. If Shedeur slips up, on the field or off, he doesn't just risk his reputation. He risks becoming a cautionary tale. The kid who got too big, too fast. Who chased money, not football. Who flew too close to the spotlight and couldn't handle the heat. And that's what makes this story so powerful. Because every move Shedeur makes from here out, every throw, every post, every headline is no longer just about him. It's about what the future of sports will look like. Will he be the first quarterback of a new era? Or the last warning before the system slams the door shut? Either way, this is bigger than football now.